I need to call it by its correct name. Otherwise, we're in trouble. All right. Hi. So this is A Space Adventure, Book 1, New Orders by yours truly, Ell Leigh Clarke. And we're starting, of course, with Chapter 1. Chapter 1, Medical Bay, Deck 15, Karma 1, Sector 6. You're making good progress, Nurse Terry Pratchett ambled into my corner of the med bay. She clicked my medical file closed on her device. Keep this up and we'll be able to discharge you soon. Get you set up in your own quarters. I forced a smile. That would be nice. I feel silly having people fussing over me. She fluffed my pillow and refilled my water glass from a nearby replicator. Seeing to your medical needs and physical comfort isn't fussing. It's our job. Mind, she continued. I wish I could have someone wait on me hand and foot. Since I married Mr. Pratchett, that's been a distant memory. She added in a conspiratorial tone, never get married. And then she winked at me, hardly able to keep a smile from her face. Clearly, the woman was blissfully happy. It also wasn't the first time she'd mentioned Mr. Pratchett. She bustled away. I turned back to my journal and reread my last entry from yesterday. The nightmares about the ship caving in on us come less regularly now. I still get flashbacks to the rescue, though. I keep feeling how lucky I was. The flood of relief mixed with the pain of loss. I keep seeing the face of the synthetic life form, SLF, who saved me. Commander Hooflix. They pronounce his name, Hooflix. It's like his face is imprinted on my retinas. I've seen him only once since I've been on board. He came by the other day to check on me. I keep thinking how kind that was of him. In fact, I keep thinking about him. I realize I have to be careful about attaching. I've read it's common for people rescued to attach to the person who rescued them. But man, he was strong. He pulled me out without hardly any difficulty once they managed to cut into the hull. Maybe it was the kind words he spoke that as he carried me out of harm's way, the reassurance that everything was going to be okay, that I was safe now. When I thanked him, he said he was just doing his job. He probably does this a lot, being on a League vessel. I wonder when I'll see him again. I have no real idea of the ship I'm on. They tell me there are about 500 souls on board and that there are nearly 30 decks. It's hard to visualize. Maybe when I can walk around, I'll take myself exploring. That would be fun. Interesting. The chief told me it would be a matter of days before we reach the next League space station. They'll drop me off and then I can choose what to do from there. Truth is, I've no idea what I'll do. My whole world has been destroyed. He was my world. All I knew for all those years. I could still see his face when I closed my eyes, lying there under the rubble, unconscious. I wish I could have said goodbye. The last thing he said to me was that we were going to get out of there, that everything was going to be fine. But everything's not fine. It will never be fine. My life as I knew it is over. His body is lying several light years away under rubble in a downed ship, crashed on a planet that didn't deserve him trying to save it. I made a swipe at the tears that were dripping from my face. This happens several times a day. I have very little control over it. With my hoodie sleeve, I wiped the tears that had dropped onto my device. Listen to me, prattling on. You probably need to know a bit about where we are and what the state of the world is right now. The year on the human homeworld calendar is 2220. I'm on a League of Civilization starship. Yeah, starship in space. To be precise, I believe we're somewhere between Sector 6 and Sector 7, en route to the nearest League space station. The League is like a federation or an alliance of various species. You'll have seen similar various shows from your homeworld. You'll know the ones. you know, the ones where various alien races live together in harmony. Well, here we've achieved some of that. So your writers weren't far off. The League consists of humans, vegans, pronounced vegans, not as in people who don't eat animal products, but as in from the system Vega. They've got what you would call, then we've got what you would call Taurians, also Atolls, who are empaths, and Zorkians. Zorks were the guys responsible for your pyramids. You're welcome. Oh, yeah, and the Dras. They're kind of the League and kind of not. That's a longer story. Anyway, Earth still exists, just about. It took a hit from nuclear weapons and climate change, and the living conditions spurred humans into space sooner than they might have otherwise. It's still populated and operational in some areas. And no, before you ask, they don't have flying cars. Actually, while we're on that, allow me to disabuse you of a few more notions. Teleportation isn't a thing. Wormholes for space travel, also not a thing. Holodecks, same. Actually, wait, hold up. I need to have a rant about wormholes for a moment. Honestly, I don't know how these concepts became so popular. Even when most sci-fi TV shows were created, your scientists knew the realities of wormholes and the process of spaghettification, and yet they used a generous dose of hand wavium to write their stories. I mean, seriously, guys, irresponsible much? If you haven't heard of spaghettification, they basically overlook the fact that any ship coming close to a black hole-like phenomenon would be torn apart long before they reach the event horizon. And yes, that's the sound of me rolling my eyes. Anyway, wormholes were never a thing, never will be, not in any reality. Blame your writers for giving you dreams that are easy to shatter. Holodecks, as I said, also aren't a thing unless you count the VR worlds that have been built. But making holograms into solid objects? Come on. FTL, okay, well, that's kind of possible, theoretically. I have it on good authority that there are groups making some strides on that, but it literally means cheating the space-time continuum. It's all super experimental. For all intents and purposes, it's safe to assume that c, the speed of light, is the speed limit of the universe. We do use sublight travel, though, liberally. And that's what we're under at the moment. From the feel of the ship right now, here in the med bay, I'd say we were probably going about 0.4 C. That's for Alcubierre, or 4AL if you're reading a console. With our top speeds at fractions of a speed of light, though, we're not exactly zipping between star systems. But it gets us around, mixing with vast worlds of possibilities, species, cultures, ideas. It's not a bad time to be alive. When we do travel further afield, we chart as we go. Charting is important. Information is currency, as well as antimatter. Actually, the charting information was one of the things that brought the League together in the first place. When we finally get this FTL-like travel working, the charts are going to be super important for us to know where we're not going to be for us to know we're not going to be materializing in a center of a star. So you may have noticed I'm talking about humans as if I'm not one. Good catch. I'm not.